I'm Jason.
I'm Nancy, and we're here today to unravel the mysteries of oiling your valves.
So exactly when should you oil your valves? Well, you should oil your valves whenever your valves don't work properly. Working properly means they should go up and down very smoothly without any bumps or anything else that makes them go slow. Use valve oil.
And why should you oil your valves? Valves need to be oiled regularly for proper maintenance of your instrument, to prevent sluggishness when trying to change notes more quickly. If they're not oiled properly, they can stick and slow down action. Also to make sure that there's no buildup of gunk or grease on the valves. Valve oil.
You may be wondering what you'll need to oil your valves. Well, there are only three things that you really do need. You need valve oil. You have your valve oil. You will need paper to catch any of the extra drippings that come off of the valves. And you'll also need an instrument with a sticky valve.
Valves. You should pick a comfortable spot, a chair, preferably not one that is in your living room with your beautiful oriental rug. Someplace where if the drips get on the floor, that they can be washed. A comfortable chair so you have good balance when you're trying to remove the valves and put them back in.
There are two methods that you can use to oil your valves. The first method that we're going to use is mainly for beginners who don't quite have the abilities to take out the valve and put it back in together the right way. This is probably only for maybe the first 3 or 4 lessons if the valves get sticky. This method is similar to what French horn players use when they oil their rotors. Here is this method. You take out the slide.
Make sure you depress the corresponding valve so it doesn't create suction problems.
Add a few drops into each tube. Push the valve up and down, and the oil should be sufficiently mixed inside the valve casing.
The second method actually involves removing the valves from the instrument, The second method actually involves it's a little more complex procedure. You want to have your paper on the ground, put the instrument perpendicular to your body across your lap. You're going to want to remove the valve caps. Now there are a couple of parts on the valves that move. The top parts, that where your fingers rest, you don't want to unscrew that. You want to make sure to grasp the valve from the valve cap which is attached to the valve and unscrew it. You should do this for each of the valves. Each of them should come off. Sometimes they don't, and you may need assistance from a music shop. Only using one valve at a time for safety and security. Once the cap becomes loose, you know it's ready to come out. Pull it out of the casing just far enough. You don't need to pull it entirely out, just far enough out of the casing to see the silver part. Using the valve oil, make sure you don't need to squeeze it very hard when you're applying the valve oil. So just tip it upside down, let gravity be your friend. The oil should sort of dribble out, sort of coat. As you're twisting the valve in the casing, coat the valve with valve oil. You should not have to squeeze very hard. That will create excess valve oil. Don't want that. When you're done, you need to make sure that the direction of the valve is correct. If it's not, the tubing won't line up and you won't be able to blow through. So technique I always use is depress the valve about halfway and turn it in the top part until it clicks. It'll click into place, it won't move any farther. Retighten the valve cap. Turn and click. Do this for each of them. When you're done, as you go along, oh shoot, I was supposed to do the test play each of them. Sorry. And continue to do the same for each of the valves, depressing them about halfway. and turning it until it clicks into place. One last time. Tighten the valve cap. You want to make sure, you'll know if it's not tightened all the way, because you'll get a clicking sound. Make sure it's tightened all the way. To test, blow through. Depressing the valves, make sure the air flows freely. And there you have it. Valves oiled.